Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome to New Life Live. Friends and family, this is Chris Williams sitting in for Steve today, and I have Dr. Alice Benton with me.
Hi, Chris. Great to be sitting down with you. Hello, folks.
And Milan Yerkovich.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Alice. It's great to be with you guys, and I can't believe it's September.
It's crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
What happened?
Yes. It's and we're into the fall season. For many, it feels like the new year, especially for those of us with school-age children
Right.
or school-age grandchildren. But as school comes online and we get back into these routines, oftentimes what happens is the things that our kids are struggling with really start coming to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just realizing that, not just realizing, but we're realizing again and afresh and anew that we as parents have a hard time and struggling with especially the challenges of the modern era. Technology and screens and all of these things going on. So Alice, tell us about this workshop that you're going to be a part of, what you're presenting on. Help us parents help our kids.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be such an action-packed conference, and you will leave the conference with greater understanding of what your children are doing, information backed by research of a lot of studies and surveys that the presenters have been looking into so that we can provide you the latest and greatest information. And we're going to learn how to mentor our children rather than falling on either end of limiting or enabling our kids. We're going to find out how to walk with them in this process, especially what my talk will be focusing on the digital realm and how we can engage with our children and even form better and healthy relationships through the use of screens rather than being fearful or completely hands-off about it.
That I love that. And it, again, it's joining our kids instead of staying purely an authoritative above them or avoiding it.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
that's right.
Milan, you have been so helpful to me in how do we engage our kids and connect with them, not just correct them. What do we need to know? What do we need to be reminded of how we connect with our kids?
Well, Kay and I are going to be speaking at that workshop also, on the parenting workshop. And the concept that we're going to begin with is how one small change in you can make a big change in your child. With a lot of parenting workshops, the focus is often on the kid, and we perceive the parent as a neutral force.
Yeah.
But the parent is not a neutral force. And so I need to work on me so I become a better parent.
Yeah.
And as I work on me, I will learn new skills, and actually even to work on my marriage, or if I'm not married, to work with someone who can help sharpen my relational skills and my ability to have a relationship, a conversation with people. Because that's what we need to be able to do with our children. Mm-hmm. What's going on in your life? What's stressing you? How do you feel about that? What do you need? How can I can see how you'd feel that way.
I love that.
Those kinds of conversations are invaluable, but we think often as a parent, to answer your question, that's not authoritative. It's curious.
Yes.
And to be a curious parent is one of the keys.
Well, you bring something up. It reminds me of the organizational or leadership consulting that I do. When I talk to leaders, I said the best way to lead your organization is first lead yourself well. And best leadership starts with our self-leadership. And that is definitely true in the business world, but more so important and true in our home. That conference is one-day workshop, October 2nd. Exactly 1 week from today. It's online, so everyone can access.
1 month from today.
1 month. What did I say? 1 year?
1 week.
One month from today. So we'll be right back after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, October 15th to the 17th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We here are very invested, very interested in your lifelong growth, your lifelong health, your lifelong vitality. And one who had led us incredibly well in that, Dr. David Stoop, led us well to the very, very end. And he still, to this day, is leading us very, very well. He has a new book out, Living Strong, Finishing Well. And even though posthumously, he lives on. His work in Christ lives on. So you give any amount here in the month of September, and we're going to send this book to you, Living Strong, Finishing Well. And whether you are a teenager or whether you are in the twilight years of your life, this book is for you.
Did you say toilet or twilight?
Twilight.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes we can feel like we're in the
we're in
toilet.
the toilet
I've
years
been
of our
in the
lives.
toilet
I
of my
mean,
life.
I
Yeah.
have, you know, certainly.
Absolutely.
I haven't.
Thankfully, Alice has avoided that.
Now, Chris, the working title that Dave had for this book is the best title in the whole world. It's called Living Strong, Finishing Well.
Yes.
But his original working title was Don't Die Before You're Dead.
I love it.
Now, the point of that was, he said, I'm not going to stop. Here he was in his early 80s to mid 80s. And he says, why should I stop being productive? And it was just, his life was a testament to the fact that he didn't want to stop being productive for the Lord and to help other people.
Yeah. Really, his retirement plan was heaven.
Yeah.
And wow, what an example. And again, still continuing to impact us today. And so we are going to carry on in that legacy. We're going to go right to the phones. We're going to go to Gary in Frederick, Maryland, listening on WAVA. Gary, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Gary, how can we help you today?
Yes, I have a question. I have an adult son that's living with my wife and I that suffers from anxiety and depression and is having a hard time coping through life, and I'm just not sure how to handle it, how to help, how to not enable but to lend a hand and be supportive, and we're kind of just all struggling through this together.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I love hearing that you're loving your son well and trying to figure it out, but it sounds like things are pretty confusing and complex. But I want to start here. What happened to your son?
Well, I'm not sure. He, we found out that he's suffered depression pretty much since his teenage years, and he did 6 years in the military and apparently really struggled with it through that time. And then as he got out and moved into adulthood, he just seems to have struggled. He has a hard time coping with everyday life and employment, and just super intelligent, super good kid, but just struggles struggles mightily.
Yeah, yeah.
Gary, do you suspect any addictive behavior going on?
I do not. I have a little bit of experience as a drug and alcohol counselor, and I do not see any of that at all.
And what kind of structured help has your son gotten since he left the military?
He has seen counselors and psychologists off and on, and has taken some medications, but
Not currently.
that's yes, he is currently seeing
Oh,
someone.
good.
Yes, and currently medicated.
And what's the plan about him living with you and your wife? Is he unemployed? Does he fully depend on you folks?
Well, that's kind of where we're at, and what we're struggling with right now. He is living with us. He was in a relationship where he was cohabitating, and that turned into both a physically and mentally abusive relationship. And he broke that off and asked if he could come home, and that was during the COVID pandemic also, and so he wasn't dealing well with the pandemic and quit a job that he had and has not been employed since. But he did put himself through a highly intensive computer training certification class, which he passed with flying colors, which he's capable of doing.
Your
Yeah.
son has a lot of strengths, and he's a man who has been able to succeed against difficult odds. What do you think happened to him as a teen?
I'm really not sure.
Okay.
We have a fear when he was a young boy, we found out that his daycare provider's husband was abusing the children in the daycare. But all along he has assured us that he did not suffer any of that abuse.
Yeah.
And the investigators felt the same way, but
Yeah.
other than that, I really,
Well,
we don't know.
and we want to jump into like, okay, now what do we do? What's our next step?
Well, I have one more clarification question, Gary. He was cohabiting with a person, and then it became abusive. Who was the abuser? When you said it became domestic violence or physically abusive, who was the person being abusive?
His partner, she was.
Okay. Toward him?
Yes.
Okay. So that's important too. But your son was in the military for 6 years. Is that correct?
Correct. He was
Okay.
in the Air Force for
Okay.
6 years.
And, one of the things that, your son sounds like he's intelligent and he's also sensitive. And that's a problem when you're intelligent and sensitive, because many, many things this person sees and they extrapolate, and it can be very overwhelming. One of the hardest, what military does is it structures you. It structures you because they tell you what you're going to do next. And when a person comes out of the military and then all of a sudden they don't have anybody telling them what to do, they're now having to be adult. And the whole idea of adulting is very difficult, because adulting means you have to be proactive, you have to manage your own decisions, you have to handle stresses, you have to be the determiner of your directions and what you're going to do and how, when, where, why, and for what reason am I heading these directions. And for a lot of people, that is a very big adjustment. A lot of teens struggle to adult.
Well, and I think that, Gary, what I hear underneath all of that is that what your son is primarily dealing with is what I refer to these days as a negative organizing principle. The organizing principle is what we believe about ourselves and the world around us and how we organize our lives around that. And so my guess is that your son really is struggling with a very low and negative view of himself. We oftentimes refer to that as shame. And so we may not know what caused the shame, but I can definitively tell you that it's there and running the show. And that's what's stealing his energy. That's what he keeps bumping up against over and over again. And what I like to hear is that he put himself through a very intensive educational program. What I believe your son needs right now is a very intensive emotional relational process.
Right.
And so there are these programs out there where a person goes to anywhere from a week to a month at a time that is sort of emotional and relational rehab, if I can call it that. But these are programs that really help dig underneath the surface, really discover what's going on underneath and oppressing your son from the inside out. And then being able to develop new ways of being, new ways of seeing, and new ways of relating to himself that get beyond that oppression, that finding more freedom through that.
So a way to broach that topic with your son might be acknowledging you've suffered more than we can even know, son. There's probably a lot that we're unaware of. And we know that our job is to provide sufficient comfort and assistance right now, but also to allow enough challenge in your life. Let's meet with your therapist so that we can get the therapist's perspective, and then all together with your mother, we can strategize. Where do we find that inpatient treatment program? What would your therapist say about it? And how do we add sufficient challenge so we don't enable you or hold you back? How would your son respond to that proposal?
Well, it's kind of funny because we spoke to him about that at breakfast yesterday, and we didn't know if it was possible for us to talk to his therapist and try to come up with a plan, because we're doing all we can, and it's, for me as a father and being, I guess, what you'd call an old school stoic father, it's hard to deal with, having a son that can't work, and I'm beginning to understand that it's not a matter of he won't, it's he can't.
Yes.
And what did he say?
So-
What did he say to your breakfast proposal?
He was okay with it. He seemed like that he would be okay with us.
Then
We just
you're
didn't
already
know.
on your way. And so continue to be proactive to get that appointment with a therapist, because you can ask for it, and with your son's permission, you can speak with a therapist. They might not be able to disclose information that your son has shared with them, but they can advise you and they can receive information. If you haven't, or it would always be good to do again, make that confession to your son. I have been a stoic father. Warmth has not been a strong suit of mine, son, and I'm sure that's made life a bit more difficult for you.
And I would add one more thing to that. Let's not forget that he entered into a quote unquote, this is my term, a love interest, and then was abused there. Now, that's traumatic.
Yes.
And when a person is traumatized by abuse, and female on male abuse is common as well.
Yes.
We often think of the other way around, that it's male on female abuse. But that's traumatic.
Yes.
You're totally out of control. And you talk about creating anxiety, and I don't know how to stop it, and this person's attacking me. I mean, these are really serious things to work through, and I would suggest that these are adding fuel to the anxiety and depression. So I would really want to address the trauma that he experienced, and any trauma he may have experienced in the Air Force. It's not easy being in the military these days.
Yeah,
You're a good dad,
No,
Gary.
it's
You're a
definite that-
you're a good father, and you're getting even better as you pursue information and your own growth.
Yeah, way to go, Gary.
sir.
That's a good job.
So Gary, if you do want to stay on the line, or you want to give the caller your number, I have some resources to some great emotional wellness programs, emotional mental wellness programs that are a little bit more intensive. Even they're closer to your area as well. But we're going to send you a book. I don't want just your son to go through this book. I want you to go through it, and maybe even go through it together. But it's a book called Changes That Heal. And I love this resource. It's been so invaluable in my own life of like, what are the things that we need to do to grow up, to become an adult and become a healthy adult. And for me, there are so many things that I bypassed along the way and got stuck on, and Changes That Heal really helped kind of lead the way on the things that I need to work on. So, Gary, we really, really appreciate your fatherhood and the way that you show up for your son, the way you show up for your family, and being in this field, the way that you show up for the people that you work with. And so, again, we want to honor that, and we believe that that resource will be great for you. Again, if there is any way that we can help you here at New Life, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can register for any of our conferences there. You can order our materials, our books, but also Club New Life. We have countless amounts of incredible videos and resources to help you improve your internal world. And so please use us, reach out to us. We'll be right back.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Houston, September 10th through the 12th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. Sitting in for Chris for a minute because I want to tell you about the need we have to get some support from y'all. And I want to read you a testimony. And here's what the lady wrote to us. I'm one of those people that Larry was talking about when he said, are you one of those folks who keeps thinking I should donate but never do anything about it? That's me. I've been wanting to give for a while now, and his words got me moving. I've been listening to you on radio since the Minirth Meyer days. For decades, I'd only been able to catch the last half of your show on my way home from work on the car radio, but now I'm retired and love seeing you in person on YouTube. Oh, I have been able to counsel so many people through the years. Example, I walked my brother through a divorce because of what I've learned from New Life. I haven't donated for a while, so I'm happy to do it now. Folks, are you one of those people that think I really should donate, but you never do anything about it? Give us a call. We can help you with that. And we don't want to do one of those commercials that says, if you've never donated to New Life, the law offices of frickin' frack can help you. But we're getting to want to do something like that. No, seriously, give us a call. We need your help. It's a ministry. A few days ago, I read a testimony where it saved somebody's life. Their life on the planet is here because of what they engage with New Life. So let the Holy Spirit continue to do work. And thank you thank you for helping us do what we do. Okay, I'm going to give it back to Chris.
Thank you, Larry.
The law offices of frickin' frack.
Can I get their number? I've got some legal questions.
800 New Life.
That's awesome.
There was Larry riffing right there. And, unscripted.
Unscripted. Oh,
Yeah.
Let's head right back to the phones. Let's go to Katie in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Katie, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, we can. Now, is it Kate or Katie?
Oh, thanks for Kate. Kate.
Thank you. So sorry, I mispronounced that to begin with. So, Kate. All right, Kate, what do you have for us today?
Okay, just a quick thank you. I consider you my California cousins. I love New Life.
Well, howdy, cousin.
I have family in Pennsylvania. I love it.
That's right. That's right. You have a place to stay. We even have a pool.
Oh, excellent. There we go.
You just became my favorite cousin.
Allentown, here we come.
Yeah, you might want to get my phone number from Rhonda Letter.
Okay, we will do it. So, how can we help you?
Okay, so I want to just say that I'm embarrassed and ashamed to ask you this question. This question I'm going to say, I have an eating disorder. I've been in and out of 12-step programs for like 10 years, mostly in, and I find it almost impossible to find other people that want to like keep in contact. Like I've reached out to people. I've driven 45 minutes to different meetings. I've done online meetings. And I have binge eating disorder, and one thing could be like rejection, and I feel even more rejected. So I just thought I'd ask, like, I don't know if you guys have any thought, like, you know, I think I'm pretty good with boundaries that, you know, I'm not like calling, telling them my life or staying on the phone. Like if I call, I'll say, do you have 5 minutes? You know, but it doesn't seem like people want to keep in touch. I don't know. I just thought I'd ask if you had any thoughts.
Well, underneath the eating disorder, and this was something that I shockingly came to see. And I say this hesitantly, but I know that I don't want to do the comparison in behavior, but in the comparison in process. When I was really working with a lot of people struggling with sexual addiction, and I would also see people struggling with eating issues and eating disorders, I was shocked at how much those two struggles mirrored each other. Mm-hmm. Like they were the same struggle that acted themselves out in different ways. Mm-hmm. And I say all of that because both of them are an intimacy disorder. Meaning that that people who struggle with an eating disorder and people who struggle with sexual compulsivity and addiction have a deep struggle in being close to other people. And so,
that's interesting.
So it doesn't surprise me that you're having a struggle in this area with people who struggle with the same thing, trying to connect with each other.
So did you define your eating disorder as binging? Did I hear you say that?
Yes, I have binge eating disorder.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Right before you binge eat, what do you feel inside? Give me a feeling word of what you feel, an emotional feeling. What?
Is anxiety emotion?
Yes, it is. Okay, just stop right there. So now we're beginning to get to the place that Chris is discussing, what is really underneath and driving this.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are three ways for you to approach this. One is to add individual therapy to the groups that you've been doing so you can dive deeper with someone who will stay committed to you as you remain in the therapeutic relationship. Ask people around you, what's it like to be in relationship with me? Maybe you're more overwhelming than you know, although you sound real pleasant to us on the phone. And then ask a few people, would you be willing to go deeper in accountability with me for a season? I want to do weekly check-ins with a friend like you that I can trust. Let them say no, but see if somebody might be interested in saying yes.
Well, Kate, we're going to keep you keeping at it because we don't want to give up on this. This stuff can take a while. And we're going to go to a break right now, but we'll come back to you and talk a little bit more and give you some resources. So hold on. We'll be right back.
of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We have Kate talking to us in Allentown. And Kate, I want to, you had mentioned that these are very, very hard things to talk about. And I want you to experience the courage and the health and the vitality far above the potential embarrassment of this. Because, one, you're not the only one. There's many, many who struggle with this. And I just want to make this comment. Anything that you were struggling pre-pandemic, most likely you will be struggling with much more intensely during and maybe even post-pandemic. And so, again, we're all struggling and trying to figure out relationships in the midst of all of this. But Milan, you were on something I think was really important, is that now that we're getting to the anxiety part, what does Kate do with the anxiety?
Well, I would redefine everything. I would say, Kate, if you look at yourself as having really an anxiety disorder that then is satiated or soothed through eating, that's a different way to look at things, because because what's driving the bus is a question I always ask. Now, Kate, what's your earliest memory of anxiety in little Kate's life? When do you remember feeling the same feeling you just described to me? How early do you remember?
You know, I don't really remember, but I will tell you this. I'm 56. My mom said when I was 5, I was in early morning kindergarten, and she said I would say I had an upset stomach, but as soon as she kept me home, she said I felt like I was okay.
Right.
So I'm guessing I must have had anxiety, and you know what I'm saying? So if that's like a marker, 5 years old.
Okay.
I mean, I don't remember feeling that.
So Kate, that upset stomach is what little Milan had at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And they actually took my appendix out thinking it was my appendix. But no, just like you, Kate, I was anxious. Actually, in my case, I was anxious about going home from school. And so my stomach would get upset every day just as school was getting prepared to let out. I think it's really important because what you're telling me is then for 50 years, plus or minus one, you've been feeling anxious inside, and certain things would cause that. And of course, food makes it all go away because we distract ourselves. It's wonderful to eat and chew and swallow, and all of those things really begin to make the pain go away. So now, what do you do with anxiety? The first thing is you address that in addition to the work you're doing with eating, but you have to address it by going and talking to someone and processing how long's it been here? Where do I feel this anxiety in my body? What other things cause me to feel anxious? And then really going through a clear work up on understanding the power of anxiety, and that it is a prevailing emotion in my life, and it's really driving the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Alice, Chris, what would you say?
Well, anxiety has been my main struggle as well, Kate.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to do what you are hoping and trying to do, which was gather a small group around me. It had to be more than one person, but it included a therapist. And then I sought out small groups at different churches until I found one I could commit to, and the people in the group were committed. And I needed to reach out to them every time my anxiety started ramping up because I needed relational comfort to soothe my anxiety. And eventually that gave me the courage, the strength to figure out why I was so anxious and what to do about it in other areas of my life. But it was the base of having people who were willing to be there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask Rhonda if I could add? This kind of has to do. I have a counselor. I have been with a new counselor who specializes in eating disorders. She's like a kindred sister. She's around my age. I very much connect with her. A lot of compassion, understanding. But in the beginning, she gave too much information about her life. And when I told her in a loving way, she said, "You're absolutely right." And even now, she respected that. She did excellent the next time we met. Now she's moving. She's got a lot of chaos going in her life. And she just touched base with me today. And I don't know if it's me receiving it. I feel so overwhelmed by her life. She's like, "Oh, I have so much going on." I don't know. I guess if I was the therapist, I would say I'm still, doing some stuff in my personal life. I don't want to lose her. And I don't think God's telling me to move on. I mean, I'm only with her like a month or so. I don't know. Do you guys have any input about that? I think she's still crossing boundaries a little.
Yes, I definitely have input about that. And that is, we as counselors and therapists, we have our own lives and they can be overwhelming. But when our own lives negatively impact our clients, we're not doing our work. We're not doing our job. And so, though I wouldn't, I understand that you don't want to lose her. I just hear that even though she specializes, she probably is a fantastic therapist. It just probably is bad timing right now.
Well, she sounds like a nice person.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean she's a fantastic therapist.
Well, yeah. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need someone who can help you, who their stuff doesn't overwhelm you. So this is critically important because, eating disorder is a very, very serious condition that needs very, very serious help. And so I would encourage you to seek out someone else to guide you through this process.
It's a red flag if you have to work very hard in your therapy session to keep the focus on you. The focus should be all on you in your therapy session. Now, sometimes it's appropriate for therapists to share a little bit about themselves when it relates back to you, when it will be helpful to you. So your radar's going off for a good reason about that.
I tell you, I know Leslie Vernick very well. I've been to her house. She moved she lives out west now, but she was my therapist for many, many years. I know she's on there and she writes books, so she knows me real well because her business was in her house, so about 20 minutes from here. So, well, thank you so much. I love you guys. I support you guys. I've been to your workshops. My husband's been to EMB. It's funny, Milan, I married a sex addict, but he has really good recovery. My first husband was an alcoholic, and I believe my parents are very high-functioning alcoholics. I have a lot of alcoholism. So that anxiety probably came from growing up in a very emotionally unself. Yeah.
Well, Kate, you just dropped tons of bombs on us, which actually helps me give you a resource I want to send you. We're going to send you the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Because that's something that you're not experiencing right now and you haven't experienced. You haven't learned a safe way to identify. First off, be aware of what you're feeling, identify it, and then disclose it. Put it in a safe place where those anxieties and fears and concerns could be soothed and said your outside world only reinforced an unsafe inside world. And so we really want to cheer you on in this. And it's interesting that you also found a therapist in chaos. So we want you to find a therapist in calm.
Mm-hmm. And keep your pool open for us, cousin. We thank you for the invitation.
So, Kate, thank you for calling. We are actually going to send you, may already have it, we're going to send you another copy in addition to the Emotional Freedom Workshop of How We Love. Want you and your husband to keep doing your guys' work together and keep getting healthy. Thank you so much for calling in. And with that, we're going to go to David in Alexandria, Virginia, listening on WAVA. David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem. David, how can we help you today?
Well, just want to start out with a couple of good things that have happened. First, I'll just say I have bipolar 1 disorder, which has been very problematic in my life. I'm 49 now. I was diagnosed when I was 25, and I'm sure I had it when I was 15 or 16. And I also have an anxiety disorder. But I joined Celebrate Recovery about 15 years ago, and I had an alcohol problem as far as binge drinking on weekends. It wasn't a regular, everyday thing, but I was able to overcome that, and a real serious sexual addiction, which now for the first time for the last 11 months, I've been totally off of pornography.
Great work. Great work.
So that's the longest period of time since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
But also the major thing is smoking cigarettes. I had a lot of troubles with the bipolar and a lot of other things, and cigarettes were always my go-to as far as anxiety and fear and just problems in general. And
David, you have overcome so much. You hear the music. Would you give us a question before we get to the break so we can be thinking about it and help you when we come back?
Well, how can I overcome the smoking addiction?
Oh yeah. That's a fantastic question.
And one of the hardest addictions
And
to overcome.
one of the most and
in fact.
here's what's missed is that the deadliest substance on planet Earth is nicotine. And so it takes more lives than any other substance out there. It doesn't get that attention, but that's what we want to be aware of. David, we want to come back. We're going to come back after the break. We're going to help you out with this. And thank you so much for calling in. And again, we're going to get to work on it for you. We'll be back right after this.
My husband's been addicted to porn since he was 10 years old.
I found out about 9 months into my marriage that he has a porn addiction.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., November 12th through the 14th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live, and we have David on the phone. David, thank you again for calling in. Struggling a lot with bipolar, but underneath that there is so many, or I should say on top of that, there is so many different addictive issues and struggles that you've been experiencing. And Milan, you had a direction to go with this.
Well, David, you indicated that around 15 years old that someone diagnosed you as having bipolar 1, what I have seen over several decades is there can be misdiagnosis of bipolar when in fact you tell us you have a lot of anxiety and fear. I think we have to stop and sometimes reassess our diagnoses or reassess what's the current iteration of me, what is actually happening inside of me, what's the prevailing emotion, what are the prevailing thoughts that go along with that, and then what are the prevailing somatic or bodily responses that go along with all of that too. Because what you're doing when you smoke is you're trying to calm or soothe something. You're trying to settle something down with a stimulant. And that's common. A lot of people do that. But I'm just saying.
I have stopped for a month now. I'm getting a chip this week at Sober Recovery. I've stopped for a month. I just wanted to say that.
Good.
Yeah.
So then why are you calling?
Keep going. Please, you go.
Why are you calling now about this, as you already have a month of recovery?
I know, but it's still very difficult to. It's still only a month, and this was a serious addiction, a very serious addiction.
So how strong, David, is your fear that you're going to relapse? Give a 0 to 10 rating on that fear level.
Well, right now, I'd say about 8 or 9 that I won't right now. I'm on the nicotine patch, so.
And when you're feeling the fear and the urges, who do you turn to in your life for support and comfort and help?
Friends from Sober Recovery and from other friends also. My mother also, and just some people in my life.
So, David, here's what I hear in the midst of all of this. You've done tremendous work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are addressing your addictions. You're staying close to your recovery community, and you're working the program, and you're working it well. But there's something that I hear underneath all of that is you have done a lot of damage to yourself through the addictions. You have struggled with anxiety, fear, something called bipolar. But what all of that does is it breaks trust with ourself. That we can no longer trust ourself. We're afraid of our own shadow. And what I want to encourage you to get into is I want you to get into therapy, and start addressing your relationship with yourself. Start listening to your anxiety. Start listening to the thoughts that you have about you. And the more that you can then begin to learn how to have a better internal dialogue with yourself. I'm going to be honest. One of the things that Milan actually has helped me a lot on is he'd hear me talk about my anxiety, and he's like, man, Chris, you're really critical on yourself. And so I had him reflect back to me my primary relationship with myself that in some key areas of my life was really off.
And I would guess, David, that probably uncomfortable emotions all are a warning to you that you got to make yourself feel better and not feel that emotion anymore. But all those emotions, anxiety included, they mean something significant. And they're trying to draw your attention to some unfinished business in your heart and soul. And it's frightening to embrace our anxiety and to begin to allow ourselves to sit with it and ask, what does this mean?
Can I just give you real quick the number one anxiety that is...
Yes, please do.
That is, because my mother is 87 years old, and I just, you're right about trusting myself. I just haven't trusted myself and in God and Jesus that I could get past her death and live on my own and have a life that is stable and safe and good, you know. So I have that really huge anxiety there about that, you know.
So David, let me rephrase that for you, because what you're describing is very common. It's called separation anxiety. I'm afraid to separate from Mom. I'm afraid to separate from others. If they separate from me, what will I do? I'm lost. And I really want you to think about that. You were thank you for your vulnerable, transparent, authentic answer. I don't know what I'd do if I lost my mom. She's 86. And then realizing she's getting older and the runway is getting short, you know, that you're going to lose her. Now, what do I do if I'm David? And that's frightening. But I'm going to guess that you've had separation anxiety for a long time.
Yeah, I've been having this fear. I can remember in group therapy back when I was about 25. I talked a lot about my mother dying and not knowing what to do.
Sure, and when my mom's gone, I don't know what to do. And really, that is a very strong part of what you're needing to deal with. Who's David? Who's adult David? Who is he? Who am I?
And it would be so natural to avoid thinking about your mother's passing. But if you avoid it, then you can't proactively plan for it, grieve in advance, and find the strength and the interdependence with other people in addition to your mom, so that you can enjoy the time you have with her rather than fearfully clinging to her presence in your life.
Yeah. My father was very extremely dysfunctional, and he, you know, was not a good role model as a man, and I had, you know, that's just a whole separate thing. But
no, it's not separate. It's a part of the whole enchilada here, you know, of what's going on in David's life.
So,
and
the answer to the nicotine question, David is talking about your fears with your mom, the damage that your dad caused, and beginning that pre-planning of enriching your life with your mom while she's still in it, but building it so that you will still be a strong, good man even when she passes on.
So, David, we want to help guide you in this direction. So we're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, because it's going to help uncover some of these patterns and where you have lost yourself to other people, including losing yourself to your mom, even while she is here. And we want to help you recover that, get that back. We want to encourage you to stay in your recovery processes, but again, get into deeper therapeutic work. So get into therapy, engage in Take Your Life Back, and start addressing these anxieties and this separation anxiety that you're experiencing.
If David's dad was what he said, then of course he'd have a high connection factor with his mom, because she would be the place of refuge, apparently, and has been for a long time, and I can't lose her.
Yes.
And David, you are stronger than you give yourself credit for, sir.
Yeah.
So proud of you.
So thank you for calling in. Hey, Steve and I are coming out to South Dakota, to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for a Repurpose Life Conference, September 25th. We would love for you to join us there. We're going to help you get back on track where you lost yourself, especially throughout this process with a pandemic. Thank you guys for being with us today, and may you be well blessed.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.